What is going on? Welcome to episode 16 of the Fight Science Made Simple podcast. Every week that I do these episodes, I'm like, damn, I can't believe I'm doing episode 16. I'm just really grateful to be able to come on every single week and consistently provide value for all you fighters, martial artists, combat athletes out there. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. I'm Coach Adam Snyder. I'm a lifelong martial artist. I'm an MMA fighter, and I'm also a performance and recovery coach. I make these podcasts every single week, like the title of the podcast suggests, to make fight science simple. So each week we're going deep into strength and conditioning, nutrition, recovery, mindset topics, my experience as a fighter. Sometimes we'll bring other fighters on as well to share their experiences to help you grow, help you perform at your best, recover at your best, get stronger, have better cardio, stay on the mat for life, whether you're a hobbyist looking to protect your family or a professional that's looking to make it all the way to top and build a career. This podcast is designed to help you reach your greatest potential on and off the mat. So the best thing that you can do to support the podcast is to follow the podcast so you don't miss out on anything that we're dropping. Every single Tuesday, we're dropping episodes. It used to be Monday. I had a schedule change with training. My Muay Thai class is a little bit longer on Mondays now, and so I changed it to Tuesdays. So now every week on Tuesday, we're going to be doing our podcast. So definitely follow if you're finding a lot of value out of this podcast, and share it with a teammate, with a training partner, anybody that you think can benefit from the information that we're dropping here. The more ears that we can get this into, just the more impact we're going to be able to have on the sport. So strap in. I'm really excited for today's episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about my personal experience with tearing my ACL. If you don't know, in May of 2025, I tore my ACL. So just about 7 months ago, I tore my ACL. It was a complete ACL tear, which means my ACL is gone, 100% separation. I do not have an ACL anymore. And I know knee injuries are very common in the combat sports world, especially in MMA and grappling sports like jiu-jitsu. And I know a lot of people don't just struggle mentally with getting back to sport and getting back to winning and competing and feeling at their best, but they also struggle mentally. It's a very mentally challenging thing to do, to struggle with injury and recover and rehab from injury. And so I want to make this podcast because just, I would say, 5 months after tearing my ACL, I opted to go through rehab without surgery. And just 5 months after completely tearing my ACL with no surgery, I was back to sparring. Now, 7 months later, I'm looking to gear up and get back into the cage and take a fight. And geez, I haven't fought in over a year. No, almost a year. It'll be a year in February that I haven't fought because of injuries. And honestly, I would have been back faster, but I've also been dealing with some pretty consistent staph outbreaks. It's been a crazy year in 2025. Maybe I'll record a whole other episode talking a bit more about the staph. But today is all about my knee injury and the ACL. So I'm going to go into just a little bit of background about specifically what caused the ACL tear. Then I'm going to talk about my decision to rehab without surgery, what my rehab process looks like, what I'm continuing to do to make sure my knee stays strong and I don't further my injury. And I'm also going to talk about the mindset a bit about it because that's really important. So, like I said, I tore my ACL in the middle of May. What happened originally, so my last fight was towards the end of February in 2025, and in that camp I actually hurt my knee, my left knee. There's this area right on the top of your shin. It's called the pes anserine, where a lot of your quad muscles connect. And in sparring, I actually tore that little connection area in my knee. And honestly, it was some of the worst pain that I had ever experienced. Like, I couldn't even sit down without feeling shocks of pain in my leg. And that was only 3 weeks out from the fight. So my last 3 weeks of fight camp, I really wasn't able to train. And I talked to some of my teammates and some of my coaches about it, over the decision to either continue to fight or pull out from the fight, because I was just in a ton of pain. And I was in a spot where it's an amateur fight. Your amateur record doesn't really matter that much. I needed to get more fights in Florida. You need to fight at least 5 times in order to go pro. I was going to be 29 that year. I'm 29 right now. And so also just a stake of like getting as many fights in as possible. Truthfully, if I was pro at the time and it was a pro fight, I would have pulled out from that fight. But I chose to fight anyway. And that coupled with staff, it just got in my head. And mentally, I beat myself. Props to my opponent. I mean, he got the win, but I did not show up at 100% of myself with the knee and the staff. And my mindset, and that's what got me the loss last year. So my knee started feeling better. It was the same knee. It was the left knee. I did some strengthening to build it back. Honestly, all the professionals that I talked to said that that injury wasn't that serious, so I didn't go through a massive rehab process to rebuild it. And I would say I took a month off after that, so February, and then April, end of April, leading back into May, I was gearing up for another fight in June to get back to it. Um, my first week of fight camp, I went pretty hard. I was feeling pretty good. My knee was feeling strong. And then the Thursday before I tore my ACL. So I tore my ACL on a Friday, my first week of fight camp, on the same knee that had been injured in the previous fight camp. The night before, I actually went out for my partner Alexandra. She had a networking event for work and I went to support her. I didn't drink or anything like that just because I was in fight camp, but I wanted to be a supportive partner. So we were just out late. I probably didn't get to bed probably till like 1 in the morning, only got like 4 hours of sleep. And I woke up on sparring day. My whoop recovery was in red. Physically and mentally, I felt lethargic and slow. And, I had the thoughts in my mind of, man, I probably shouldn't spar today. I just don't feel great. And, this is something that I coach my athletes all the time. Data is just a tool. And so if your data is telling you that you're under recovered, but you feel great or you're not having any issues, you might be able to train. If your data is telling you you're under recovered and you feel shitty, you probably shouldn't train. And my data showed I was under recovered and I was feeling shitty. So I probably shouldn't have went to sparring, but the fighter athlete ego in me was like, fuck it, bro. It's your first week of fight camp. You've been out too long already. There was a little bit of scarcity, like gonna be 29 this year, amateur, coming off of a loss, got a lot to prove. So I sucked it up. I went to sparring. I slammed a Celsius. First couple of rounds, I felt okay. And then the third round, I was defending a single leg, and my partner transitioned to just like an inside sweep, and he was a little too high in the way we planted. The ACL just went. And what's really interesting about, well, first and foremost, like I'm a much better coach than I am an athlete. I'm not the best at taking my own advice and what I would coach other athletes for. I guess that's why my coaching business is as successful as it is. And I struggled with an ACL tear. But that's besides the point. It was actually pretty surprising. Like when I tore my ACL, I didn't think I had an ACL tear. Like I heard a pop and there was an immediate amount of pain. Um, but I was able to stand up. I shook it off a little bit. I just boxed the last round in sparring that day. And then there was some immediate swelling. I actually ran sprints the next morning because truthfully, I didn't think it was that bad. Like I've tweaked my knee in the past. It was just a bit swollen. Usually when you tear an ACL, there's some buckling. So if you walk, you buckle when you walk. And what happens is, so you have your knee and you have your femur, which is your thigh bone, and then you have your tibia, which is the front bone of your shin, and they connect inside of your knee, and then your ACL is basically like a guard that keeps them in place. And when that ACL isn't there, and when someone experiences buckling, typically their tibia is popping out of that knee joint. And so that's actually what that popping sound is. It's like those bones clacking together, and that's what a pop is when you tear an ACL or have a knee injury. But I had no buckling. Like I was walking fine, I was moving fine. I was actually sparring, like just boxing sparring for a couple weeks because like I felt okay. I thought I was gonna be fine. I was full intent on fighting my fight in June. Um, I thought maybe like a little meniscus, maybe it was just a sprain, but I had no thoughts of it even being an ACL tear, or especially a complete ACL tear, just because I was coping so well. It wasn't that bad. Um, Maybe it was a bit of denial. Maybe it was like just hyper focused on I'm taking this fight and I'm winning this fight, and this is my opportunity to work on my mindset and not let my mindset beat me taking a fight when I'm going in not 100%, because you're never going to be 100% when you take a fight. So there was just a lot of areas of improvement, plus like I knew I could beat this guy, so I was just ready for it. But then like maybe 4 weeks out from the fight, I saw that my opponent had taken another fight the week before we were supposed to fight. So I DM'd him on Instagram. I was like, bro, aren't we supposed to be scrapping in a couple weeks? He's like, dude, I didn't even hear about this, blah, 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 whatever. Needless to say, like, he ended up pulling out of that fight. And honestly, it was the best thing that could have happened for me, because then I decided to go get an MRI. And when the MRI results came back, again, this was all in May, boom, ACL tear. Shocked. Like, very shocked, and pretty devastated, and all the feelings, right? Like the scarcity and the doubt and the uncertainty and the anger and the frustration and just all of these things. 2024, I was undefeated. I fucking went on a tear, 3 wins. I was crushing it, felt amazing. Then coming into 2025, dealing with staph infection, hurting my knee, taking my first loss, learning a lot of lessons from that, handling outside life stress and still being able to perform, ready to prove that I learned those lessons and made corrections to fight again in June, and then tearing my ACL. So it was a lot. But one thing that I always preach to our athletes, I've coached a lot of athletes through injuries, is that your mindset is 90% of the battle. And I have some pretty strong opinions on what your body is capable of doing, its healing capabilities, and what you can do with perseverance, belief, hard work, dedication, and trusting in your body. So, although there were a lot of negative emotions and the entire rehab process was a journey, I was also kind of excited because it was my opportunity to practice what I preach and put my philosophies into action. I've helped other people do it, but then I had a chance to do it on my own, which was pretty cool. So I opted to rehab my ACL, well, my knee. My ACL is gone, like it's not coming back. So I opted to rehab my knee without surgery, which, first and foremost, I want to preface, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a physical therapist. Um, this is not medical advice. Okay. I am not anti surgery. I think there are a lot of people that get major injuries that should get surgery. If there was a ton of buckling and I couldn't walk and my entire lifestyle was completely ruined because of the knee, I would have gotten surgery. The reason I did not get surgery is because I was coping so well. I was handling it so well. The other side of it was like, I talked to my partner Alexandra about this, and I bet on myself with it. I was like, if I get surgery, this is a guarantee that I'm going to be out for a year. At least I'm going to be fighting June, July of 2026. I'm a 3-1 amateur. I'm going to be 29. I don't want to have to get 2 more fights in at 29, 30 and then go pro. Whereas if I choose to rehab this without surgery, then I can probably fight within 7 to 8 months and save myself an entire year of rehab. And if the knee gets worse, or other ligaments tear, or something else happens and I'm forced to get surgery is going to happen either way. So maybe I can avoid surgery by going through this rehab process and doing it the right way and building strength. And by the way, like 50% of ACL surgeries end up in re-tearing anyway. So 50% of people that get ACL surgery end up re-tearing their ACL. But that's just because they do their rehab wrong. They don't actually like get strong and do the strength and conditioning that's required to have a strong, resilient knee. They just get the surgery and then go to physical therapy, and then I'm cleared for training, and then go back to training and everyday activity and keep doing all the things that they were doing, like their knee's perfectly good, and then it just tears again. And that's a failure on them to do like the research, but also be a failure on our medical system. That's a whole other conversation. But anyway, it just made more sense. Like for my goals, what I wanted to do, it just made more sense not to do surgery. So the very first thing that I did was I invested in a physical therapist and a coach. I have the skill set and the ability to rehab my knee myself. I could have done it on my own, but I also know that you go farther faster when you have coaches and people in your corner, when you invest in yourself and put energy and skin in the game. This is what I coach athletes to do, and it's very important to me that I practice what I preach. So Nick Smith, he's a physical therapist that specializes with combat athletes. Check out Smith Forge on Instagram. He's the man. I linked up with him and we got to work right away. The initial phase of my rehab was first to get swelling down and reduce some of the pain, and then also to regain range of motion. I wasn't able to fully extend my knee, and I wasn't able to fully flex my knee, so I wasn't able to sit on my heels. And actually flexion took a really, really long time to get back. Like my strength progressed way quicker than my range of motion did, which was pretty interesting. So we went pretty hard on range of motion. We started working right away together in June. We worked together from June to November, so about 5-6 months that we worked together. And the main reason, like I said, was just to have another set of eyes looking at it, to put my programming into somebody else's hands so I didn't have to handle the programming, and to basically tell God and the universe, like, hey, look, I'm serious about healing this, and I'm doing everything in my power possible to do this. So like my heart and my mind and my actions and my spirit were all 100% aligned on me getting back. Like that's so important. You have to have full alignment on anything. If you have just a little bit of doubt that you're cutting corners or not doing it the right way, and that's in your brain, that's going to manifest into what you're doing. So we got my swelling down, we got my range of motion back, and then we started rebuilding strength. And honestly, bro, like, and broettes, it's mostly dudes watching this, but we got some chicks as well. We just did the fucking basics, okay? And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this podcast and talk about my ACL experience, because not once have I inject any BPC or TB500. No peptides have been injected. Not once have I worn a knee brace. No anaconda braces, no sleeves, nothing, okay? I've haven't done any ice baths, no dry needling, fucking any of it. I haven't done any of it. All I did was basic strength and conditioning, basic plyometrics. I slept, I ate good food, and I worked on my mindset. And then I showed up and did the skill training that I did. That was it. No shortcuts, no secrets. I didn't do any fucking like balancing on half Bosu balls or anything like that. We just got strong as fuck and made sure I was able to jump, run, and sprint and move in full ranges of motion. That's all we fucking did. And I'm a very big believer that the reason I coped so well from the injury and didn't have to get surgery is because all I have been doing for the last decade is basic strength and conditioning. Like I'll experiment with advanced tactics and advanced tools because it's important for me to know as a strength and conditioning coach, but I squat, I deadlift, I bench press, I pull in all ranges of motion or planes of movement, I rotate, I do single leg work, I jump, I throw, I do Olympic movements, and I sprint. Like that's it. And that's all I've ever done. So my body is strong as fuck. My quads and my hamstrings and my calves are strong as fuck. My ligaments are resilient as fuck. We do combat sports, especially in MMA. It's a fucking wild sport. Injuries are going to happen. They're not 100% preventable. Freak things are going to happen no matter how strong you are, how well prepared you are. But being well prepared and doing your strength and conditioning the right way is an investment in your longevity and in your future. Because if I wasn't doing strength and conditioning for as long as I was doing it and practicing what I was preaching for as long as I was doing it, if I wasn't strong and powerful and explosive and well fed, well, then maybe I tore my ACL and I would need surgery. Then I'd be out who knows what for a surgeon and follow ups and all that bullshit. And then another year for rehab. So I tell you this because you should always be a proactive athlete versus a reactive athlete. The proactive athletes win. If you are waiting until a rock bottom catastrophic moment, an injury, a loss, a weight miss, to take your training and nutrition more seriously, to invest in a coach, to do things like a professional, then you're a ticking time bomb before you might have one of those more severe moments. And then if one of those moments happen, they're going to impact you less intensely. I'm proof of it, right? Because I've been doing things the right way with my strength and conditioning, my nutrition, my recovery, my mindset for so long, I was able to avoid surgery and then immediately invested in a coach. Like I said, I could do this myself, but I invested in a coach immediately. I didn't have the cash on hand to invest in a coach. Okay. We had some challenging months at the end of 2024 with my coaching business financially. It's just part of life. It happens in business. It's amazing. It's how we learn and grow and get better. But I wasn't in a place where I could take cash out to invest in a physical therapist. So I put it on a credit card. I increased my credit card debt in order to rehab my knee. Why? Because A, when you die, where the fuck is that money going? Like, what the fuck? It's not even real. Like, money, it doesn't actually exist. It's not a real thing. We made it up as some fucking monopoly currency. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you can always make more money. There's literally infinite amount of money out there. You can do anything. Like, you can make more money always. The third thing is, like, I want to fight. I want to be the strongest athlete possible. I want to fucking have incredible experiences in life. I have big goals for myself on and off the mats, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make those things happen. So, like, if I wasn't willing to invest in myself and take out a little bit of extra credit card debt in order to rehab my body the right way, that's me telling God, that's me telling the universe, oh, all of these things that I say I want, I don't really want because I'm scared, because I have a little bit of scarcity, because I want to save a quick buck, because I don't actually believe in my abilities to do that. Fuck that, bro. Like, I'm all in. If you want to achieve great things in life, you got to be all fucking in. You got to bet on yourself. You got to be willing to lose it all. You got to be willing to put yourself in a position where it could all fall apart, but you have so much confidence and belief and trust in yourself and your abilities and where you're going that no matter how hard and sucky it gets, you're going to fucking pull it off anyway. And that's what you got to be willing to do with everything, not just in your fight career, not just in your training, but in every single aspect of your life. You're going to feel fear, you're going to feel uncertainty, but you got to go all in. That's the only way you're going to win. And that's another reason why I'm pretty grateful for the ACL tear, because these are things that I practice. These are things that I preach. I understand that when you're young, like I started doing this as a coach in 2019. I was right out of college. I was like 22. I'm 29 now. The older you get, the more experience you have, the more credibility you have, the more just the more life experience you have, right? And so this was my opportunity to practice what I preach and show that what we do actually works, and then hopefully help some of you achieve your greatest potential as well. And that was really it. Like, really consistent strength training, talking to my coach every single week, eating a lot of protein and good carbs, prioritizing sleep, being smart about how I spent my time. Like, there were some times where I was feeling really good and I went a little bit harder than I should have in the beginning, and then I had some flare-ups and was set back a little bit. But I would say by month 2 or 3, I really learned how to listen to my body and understand, okay, I'm feeling really good, but I'm not going to push it, because if I do these things, it may have me flare up and set back. And once I did all of those things consistently and really dialed it in, everything started to click. And I tore my ACL in May, and by November, I was doing full MMA sparring again. And I'm doing full MMA sparring now. My knee feels incredible. It doesn't even feel like I injured it. I'm looking to fight hopefully next month. We'll see. We're moving to Thailand at the end of February, so I'm going to be living in Thailand for 3 months. So hopefully I can secure a fight here in the States before we go out and do that. But we'll definitely try to get some kickboxing fights, Muay Thai fights going in Thailand. I'll be training full time out there, and my knee is healthy and ready to go. And look, the physical part of it, the training part of it is really important. But like I said in the beginning of the pod, the number one most important thing, like 90% of your success with anything, but especially with injuries, is your mindset. I know firsthand how challenging injury mindset is. You go to dark places. You're not able to do the things that you love. You have doubts and fears about, will I ever get back to 100%? Am I always going to be like this? Am I falling behind? I can't train the way that I want to, and my teammates are leveling up, and my opponents are leveling up. What if I get back to training and it gets injured again? There's the depression that comes. Like, you're not training, you're not moving your body, you're not around your teammates. Like, I was basically in my house for fucking all the time and not rolling with my friends and pushing myself to my physical limits. And you start to feel low, like your testosterone is low, your energy is low. You feel like a shell of yourself. You want to quit every single day. So many times am I doing this? Maybe I should just get the surgery. Like, maybe I should just give up. Maybe I'm getting too old. Like, am I really going? Like, all of that bullshit shows up. And that's okay. And that's normal. You can't let that shit stop you. You gotta just show up and take consistent action every single day. And this is where faith comes into play. When you have the doubt, when you have the uncertainty, when you have the fear, you have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith in your abilities, and you have to have faith in some level of higher power, whether it's the universe or God or just the belief that everything is going to work out. You don't have to be religious, but you have to have some kind of faith, and those things are going to carry you through. One more thing about mindset that's really important is your words. Your words have power. The thoughts that you have are powerful. Your subconscious brain, which is basically the part of your mind that runs the show, it holds the instructions and the programming for how you do anything. Like, you put your shirt on this morning, which arm did you put in first, your right or your left? I don't know. You don't know, but if you think about it, maybe it was your right arm, right? Like, why? It's a decision that you made. Why did you make that decision? Well, it wasn't a conscious decision. Your subconscious mind made that decision. And most of the decisions that you make and most of the actions and the ways that you act and the words that you say and the things that you think are not conscious decisions. You're not aware of what you're doing. Your subconscious mind is running the show. And so, being really intentional with your word choice and how you speak about yourself and how you speak about your injury and how other people speak about you and your injury is really important, because your subconscious mind, it's unemotional. It just gets instructions and takes coding and programming, creates beliefs, and those beliefs become how you act. So if you're someone that's like, yeah, I fucked up my knee, or this is my bad knee, or man, like, I just keep getting injured all the time, or I'm injury proof, or like you're making jokes about being injured and you're just talking about being injured and identifying as an injured person all the time, then your subconscious brain is going to accept that belief as the truth. And then without you even knowing it, it's going to have you take actions to ensure that that belief is a reality, which means like you might continue to get injured, or you might have a harder time rehabbing, or it might take longer because your subconscious brain believes that its identity is an injured person. So many times, even to this day, oh, is that your fucked up knee? Oh, that's your bad knee. Oh, you're a cripple, right? Like coaches will say that joking, teammates will say that joking, but I will correct them on the mats. That's not my bad knee, that's my healing knee. Bro, I'm not a fucking cripple. I'm stronger than ever. What the fuck are you talking about? And they'll look at me and they'll like roll their eyes and they'll be like, don't take it that seriously, bro, or like whatever. But it is that fucking serious. It is that fucking serious. You have to reprogram your subconscious brain to be that identity of a healthy, strong person. If you're struggling with an injury and you're identifying with that injury and you have a negative relationship with that injury, you're probably going to be injured longer. You're going to have a fucking rough time throughout that process because you're just going to be a fucking miserable human all the time. and your chances of getting re-injured are drastically increased. So honestly, like, doing the strength work is easy. Doing the rehab is easy, especially for fighters. We like training. We like doing the physical. We like doing the work. That's not hard to do. The hardest part is the mental work, the reframing, catching yourself every time you have a negative thought, you have an unaligned thought. You catch yourself speaking negative or unaligned words. You catch other people saying negative or unaligned words about you and your injuries. Reframe them. Reframe your thoughts, reframe your words, reframe other people's words, and do it unapologetically. You don't have to be a dick about it, but you have to be unapologetic, not afraid to offend anybody, because this is your future. This is your well-being. This is your health. And truthfully, like, mastering your mind and your belief in yourself and your ability to reprogram your subconscious mind is one of the hardest things to do, but that small shift will 10x, fucking 100x. I don't have studies on it. I'm throwing numbers out there. It'll 100x your success rates. Okay. Kind of a blabble of a podcast today, but that's all I got. Had to be a quick one. I got to get ready for sparring here in an hour or so. Gonna fuck some shit up. Gonna put some pace on some motherfuckers. Can't wait to get after it. I hope that you found this episode helpful. If you're struggling with an injury, you got this. You're going to get through it. But you have to take the right action. You can't just sit around and be passive and hope for it to get better. You can't keep bumping yourself with BPC and taking rest days and throwing a brace on it and resting and hoping that your injury is going to get better. It's not. Okay? Throw your fucking knee brace. Throw your braces away. Okay? Inject BPC, fine, but also get strong as fuck. Okay? Getting strong as fuck and being able to jump and throw and sprint is more important than injecting BPC. Because if all you do is inject yourself with BPC, you might feel better, but you're not actually going to prevent further injury and fix the thing that caused the injury, and then you're going to get fucking injured again. So get strong as fuck. Jump, run, sprint. Get your mindset right, full of belief and faith and certainty, and fucking take some action. Eat the right foods, eat healthy, eat for performance, get a gram of protein per pound of body weight, eat carbohydrates, sleep 7-8 hours a night. Better yourself in other ways. If you can't go on the mat and train the way that you want to, watch some fucking film. Learn a new skill. Read some more. Don't just fucking sit on your phone and scroll and watch TV and play video games and jack off. Like, that's some loser shit right there. Fucking lock in and be a champion and be a winner no matter what adversity life is being thrown at you. That's all I got. If you want some help rehabbing injuries, building back from injuries, being the biggest badass fighter on the planet, shoot me a DM on Instagram. We'll see how we can help. We're the best at what we do. We got 4 guys looking to make Contender Series runs this year on the Fight Science Collective, and we got more coming. I got pro fighters knocking at my door every single day because we're the best at what we do. Best believe we're going to be getting guys to the UFC this year, and best believe our team is filling up fast. So if you don't want to get left behind, shoot me a DM and let's level up together. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of the week. I'll talk to you soon. Peace!